right, we are here for round one against our opponent, Alpha Moyer. We've lost the die roll. We have a 2-land hand with 2 Hollowed Ones, a Faithless Looting, and a Street Wraith, which means this is a turn 1 double Hollowed One hand, which is kind of the dream, so we're going to keep the crap out of this hand. Let's see what our opponent's playing. Opponent plays Basic Mountain for a Foundry Street Denizen, so it looks like he's probably playing a 8-whack Goblin deck. We pull a Stomping Ground. We're going to play our Blood Crypt, paying the life. One of the tricks that I've learned is that you want to cycle the Street Wraith first, in case you draw something that you want to pitch to Faithless Looting, like this Bloodghast that we just got here. So this deck is coming up Millhouse. This is exactly what we want. So we're going to go ahead and Faithless Looting, we're going to pitch the Bloodghast, and since we don't have anything in our deck that we need for Stomping Ground, we're going to go ahead and pitch it too. Alright, so we'll go ahead and play our Hollowed One and our other Hollowed One. And we're going to save the Street Wraith for a future cycling and pass to our opponent. Opponent has another Foundry Street Denizen, pumping his other Foundry Street. Opponent has yet another Foundry Street Denizen, pumping him up even further. And opponent doesn't attack, and looks like he's going to pass directly back to us. We get another Hollowed One. We're going to hold on to it, I think. We'll play our Bloodstained Mire, getting our Bloodghast back. We will use that ability. And we're going to go ahead and attack with our 2 Hollowed Ones. Hollow Ones. There's no hollowed, there's no ED at the end of it. I keep wanting to say that. Let's see if our opponent blocks. Opponent just takes the 8 damage like a champ. We'll go ahead and play our Flameblade Adept, second main phase, and pass the turn. Now, we're not going to fetch our Bloodstained Mire at the end of turn. We're going to hold it up in future in case we need to get that Bloodghast back. Now, our opponent's going to play a Goblin Piledriver. Got protection from blue, not super relevant to us. Is going to pump all of his Foundry Street Denizen. And looks like he's going to try to get across for 6. I think we are fine with taking the 6 here, so we're just going to take it. We're not going to block with our Flameblade Adept. Puts us at 10. Removal spell here was pretty optimal, because that means we have 8, 10, 11, 12 damage with this Street Wraith. So this came up pretty perfectly. We're going to go ahead and bolt this Goblin Piledriver, and then we're going to go ahead and get across. We get to the block step. We're going to go ahead and cycle our Street Wraith, triggering our Flameblade Adept. And unless he has a removal spell here, which it looks like he does, he is going to Lightning Bolt our Flameblade Adept. We draw a Call to the Netherworld. So we've got our opponent down to 2. Now, if he has another, let's see, if he has a Goblin spell that's going to put 2 creatures onto the table, or if he draws one and he's got another one in hand, we are dead. Can play our Hollowed One. So we discarded the Street Wraith, which means he is currently 3 mana. So no, we can't play our Hollowed One, not unless we discard some more cards. We could play our Swamp. Cast Call to the Netherworld and get a Street Wraith back to hand. And then we can sack the Street Wraith and hopefully get another Lightning Bolt or something like that. So I think what we're going to do is we are going to cast Call the Netherworld on our Street Wraith. We're going to hold the Street Wraith in hand, though, in response to whatever my opponent happens to do. So we will pass the turn. Hopefully he just has nothing and we win this game, but... yeah, he's got a Mogg War Marshal, which means he has lethal. So we are going to cycle our Street Wraith, hopefully draw a Lightning Bolt. We draw a Gurmag Angler, which is not a Lightning Bolt. Kind of the opposite, unfortunately, and it means that we're dead. So we are going to go ahead and unfortunately concede and go to our sideboard. Let's see, what is decent against his deck? He doesn't really have any artifacts. He doesn't really have anything big that we need to get rid of with Inquisition of Kozilek. He also doesn't have any like super huge creatures in Big Game Hunter. So I don't think that there's anything really that we need to board in against his deck. He is probably going to be bringing in some sort of graveyard hate. My guess would probably be something like Relic of Progenitus. I don't think that bringing in Ancient Grudges are going to be necessary against that. I think Call of the Netherworld is probably worse than, say, like an Inquisition of Kozilek, because at least Inquisition of Kozilek is a removal spell that gets rid of something out of his hand. Don't think we bring in more than that, though. I think we're going to just go with this and see how the next round goes. We would like to play first. Let's see here. So we have Hollowed One and Burning Inquiry, along with a Faithless Looting and a Bloodghast. So this is another turn 1 Hollowed One hand, which isn't bad, as long as we don't accidentally somehow discard the Hollowed One. So we're going to go ahead and keep this. I think what we'd really want to see is this Burning Inquiry hit our Bloodghast and our Faithless Looting. We're going to play Blood Crypt, and we will Burning Inquiry. We did put the Bloodghast into the graveyard. We also put our Hollowed One in the graveyard, but we drew another one. So we are happy to play that one. Opponent lost a Legion Loyalist, a Lightning Bolt, and a Mountain. So we'll see if that hurt his mana at all. He has another Mountain, and he's going to play another Legion Loyalist. Don't imagine he attacks here. We get another Burning Inquiry. I think we're going to attack, and we're going to play Faithless Looting. I guess we probably want to play Faithless Looting first, so let's do that, in case we get a Flame Wake Phoenix. Should have probably played our land there first, because then we would be able to Fiery Temper our opponent. That being the case, I think we're going to pitch the Burning Inquiry and the Stomping Ground. We'll play our Bloodstained Mire, get our Bloodghast, and then we're going to attack for 4 with our Hollowed One. Hollow One. Force myself to say it right as many times as I possibly can. So it takes 4 and passes to opponent. Was thinking about casting a spell main phase. Looks like he still is. Might not have a second land, though. He's got a Magma Spray, which is pretty solid. That's going to kill our Bloodghast. Now, what we could do here is we could Lightning Bolt our Bloodghast in response. This way, he would go to the graveyard instead of exile. I don't think that's necessary. I think we're just going to, unfortunately, let that happen. And it's going to get in for 1. We are fine with that. Does not play his second land, so we may have actually hurt him on mana using that Burning Inquiry. Draw another Lightning Bolt. Let's see here. We're going to hit him for 4. And just to prevent us from taking too much damage, rather than playing this Blood Crypt untapped and then also Bloodstained Miring so we can Faithless Looting, I think we're just going to play the Blood Crypt tapped, and we're going to save it for next turn. And this way we can leave up these 2 Lightning Bolts if he comes across something that hurts us, like a Goblin Bushwhacker or something like that. Opponent is going to Goblin Grenade our Hollow One. Sacrificing his Legion Loyalist pre-combat instead of attacking first. Not sure why he did that, but obviously we have to accept that. All right, now we are going to fetch with the Bloodstained Mire, and we're just going to get another Blood Crypt. Guess we could have got a Swamp there to play around Blood Moon. He could have Blood Moons. We get a Scalding Tarn. We are going to play the Scalding Tarn, and we are going to cast Faithless Looting. We get another Faithless Looting and a Fiery Temper. I think we're going to discard the Faithless Looting and the Fiery Temper. Now we get to Madness the Fiery Temper with Scalding Tarn. So we will fetch basic Mountain here, and we'll just target our opponent. And the next turn we can play a Gurmag Angler. He's also at 9 life, and we have 2 Lightning Bolts in hand, so we're pretty close to just burning him out. Opponent gets another Legion Loyalist. Gonna dig in for 1 damage. We get another Bloodghast, and he's at 9 life, which means the Bloodghast does have haste. And put him at 7, still not quite enough to hit him with 2 Lightning Bolts. So I think we're going to... Opponent is messaging me here saying, curse me for making him chuck his second land. Apparently we did win the game with Burning Inquiry this time around. So we are going to play our Gurmag Angler, or our Gangler, as I like to call him. Let's see... And sure. And let's see, we can cast our Bloodghast as well and get across for 2 and pass back to our opponent. Opponent's going to Goblin Grenade our Gurmag Angler, which is fine because now we get to attack with Bloodghast and burn him out with Lightning Bolts. We get a Cathartic Reunion. Don't really need to cast it. Going to attack. All right. Let's see. He had His sideboard cards against us look like Magma Spray, which I don't think we really have anything we can use to fight that with other than Inquisitions of Kozilek, and I don't think that that's super necessary. So we're just gonna run it back exactly like we have it. All right, so this is less of an exciting hand as our first two. We do have a couple of Flameblade Adepts, and we do have a Street Wraith to pump them. I guess we keep this. I don't see a reason not to keep it. We can't get a super gas hand every game. So I think some games we're probably just going to get some hands like this. And it's got a Legion Loyalist. We get a Bloodghast. We still don't have an Enabler. We're going to play a Mountain and play our Flameblade Adept. And without him pumping his Legion Loyalist, that means our Flameblade Adept is going to hopefully block him for a little while. I imagine he has a removal spell though. He's got a Mogg War Marshal. We get yet another Flameblade Adept. So we're going to go ahead and take 2 damage from our Blood Crypt, and we're going to play both Flameblade Adepts. Now, we could hold back and wait for the attack, which might be the right play, or we could attack with the Flameblade Adept. I feel like he's going to block with the Mogg War Marshal, and then possibly the Goblin Token, and then just get another Goblin Token. That does prevent him from getting his Battalion trigger, though, unless of course he has another haste creature. I feel like I'm gonna go ahead and not attack this turn. We're gonna play it a little bit slower. I think his deck is just gonna be a little bit more aggressive than ours, so just leaving back a bunch of blockers right here is probably gonna be safer, I think. See, yeah, he doesn't pay for the Echo trigger, so he's gonna get his other Goblin Token. He does have another land. He's gonna Lightning Bolt one of our Flameblade Adepts and play another Mogg War Marshal. He does not attack and passes back to us. We get a Cathartic Reunion, which is really good here. This means that we can cast Cathartic Reunion and then Fiery Temper down probably his Legion Loyalist. So let's do that. So just to save time here, we're going to go ahead and fetch here with our Bloodstained Mire. And we will get a Swamp, so we can theoretically play a double black creature if we needed to. So let's go ahead and Cathartic Reunion, discarding Bloodghast and Fiery Temper. We're going to get a bunch of triggers here. Going to cast Fiery Temper at Legion Loyalist, and we can just always yield to these triggers. We get a Flamewake Phoenix. Let's see here. We can get across for 8, but then we have to take 2 more damage from our Street Wraith, and I think we're going to hold our Street Wraith in case we draw something like a Hollowed One. So let's go ahead and just attack. It looks like he's going to double up block, which is really good for us, because that's just going to clear his board. He's going to get a token back from the Goblin War Marshal, but we're fine with making this trade here because he's losing more than we are. And now we'll pass the turn. Next turn we're going to get our Bloodghast back, and then we also have, well, nope, next turn we're going to not have a graveyard because there's Relic of Progenitus. I imagine he's going to crack it now before we get our Bloodghast back. Opponent is going to go ahead and get in for 1. All right, we get a Stomping Ground. We will play the Stomping Ground tap, and we will go ahead and play our Flamewake Phoenix. And we're going to fly across for 2. I like that he always has to attack every turn, because that means I don't have to click on him during my attack stuff. And let's see what our opponent gets. Got a Foundry Street Denizen, and he's going to get in for 1. He is currently winning the race. All right, we draw another Bloodghast. There is the possibility that we cast the Street Wraith instead of cycling it. But I think we're going to definitely want the Bloodghast on the table. So we're going to save these 2 lands in case we draw something like a Faithless Looting or something like that, and also so we can trigger Bloodghast in the future. So we're going to go ahead and play Bloodghast. We're going to get in for 2, and we'll pass back to our opponent. Unfortunately, Bloodghast can't block. So he's going to have his full reign of attacks. He did not draw a creature, it doesn't look like, because he did not want to cast something pre-combat to pump up his Foundry Street. So that's actually pretty good news. It means he's slowing down on gas. We get a Hollow One. That's a good play. We are going to cycle the Street Wraith. We get a Bloodstained Mire. Nothing fancy there. We will go ahead and cast our Hollow One. And let's go ahead and get in for 4. See what our opponent draws. Another land. Opponent's a little land flooded. He gets a Goblin Grenade, and he's going to get in for 1. We get another Hollow One. This one we can just cast without any cycling. So we will get across for 4 again. Oh, he's got another removal spell. Opponent's got a Lightning Bolt for our Bloodghast, so we'll get in for 2. This does bring him down to 10, which means our Bloodghast will get haste from here on out. We're going to go ahead and play our Bloodstained Mire. trigger our Bloodghast, and pass the turn back to our opponent. Opponent gets a Legion Loyalist, triggering his Foundry Street Denizen. Passes back to us. We get a Blood Crypt. We will go ahead and attack. I think we're going to hold the Hollow One back to block with. I could attack here, but he could have a surprise like Goblin Bushwhacker or something like that, and we want to leave back a blocker for something like that. I think we're winning the race otherwise, so we will play a little bit more conservatively since our life total is so low, and pass it back to our opponent. Opponent's got a Magma Spray for the Bloodghast. Opponent's not going to attack. Passes back to us. We get another Flamewake Phoenix, so we'll get across for 2, once again leaving the Hollowed One back to block. Puts our opponent at 2. Opponent's got to have a way to stop us on his next turn, or we're going to win in the air. And opponent gives up the match, so we'll extend a handshake to him, and we will see you guys in the next round.